Hey everyone, and welcome to the Kitchen Sink, and my name is Ryan Henry. I'm passionate about racket sports and specifically pickleball. I come from a professional tennis background and was once the world #1 junior in doubles back in 2002, and in 2023 started playing pickleball. I won the Australian national titles men's singles in 2023 and are currently competing in the Major League Pickleball Australia teams event. My current DUPA rating is approximately 5.7. I'm also a part owner of Voyager Tennis and Pickleball, where we run programs across various parts of Australia and Singapore. And this podcast is really about sharing my journey as a player and what I'm learning throughout the process as we interview and talk to people who are taking the game forwards. Welcome to the Kitchen Sink, where we take your pickleball game to the next level with pro insights and real conversations. All right, today we've got a special guest with us, Joey Wild. We're here at the PWR event at the Oxford Falls Grammar School, actually. We've found a quiet spot away from the action, away from a lot of the pickleball sounds. So a little bit of background on Joey. Joey has won many multiple national titles the last couple of years, but in 2024 won the men's doubles, nationals, mixed doubles, has won multiple professional titles as well. His current DUPA, as of last night, was 6.06, which is the highest Australian male player. Yeah, welcome to the interview, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice to have a little chat.
Yeah. No, likewise. No, really looking forward to it. So, I guess what we're going to focus on a little bit today is Joey's just had a really cool experience in Melbourne. Playing against some of the world's best players, and it's a pretty unique experience to be able to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about some detail around that, and as well as some of the nuances of the pickleball game, and get into Joey's mind around how he approaches the game. So just in terms of your recent experience there, you did compete against some of the world's best players. What were some of the big differences that you noticed between literally the top US guys versus maybe the top players in the Asia Pacific region?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I was thinking of when I was playing those guys was like, they just didn't give away any free points.
Yeah.
Like they just made us work for every single point that we won on that court. So their consistency with pretty much every shot on the court is just top level.
Yep.
And then to go along with that, felt like their level never dropped. Whereas in my game, I'd have some up and downs, some really good periods, some poor periods. They were just consistently at a high level.
Yeah. Nice. So basically, you found it difficult to end points.
Difficult to end points. It had to be kind of me creating a way to end the point rather than hitting a good dink and they'll make an unforced error.
Yep. Versus you're noticing, like, say, top of Asia Pacific League players, just a little bit more ebbs and flows, which is more human.
Exactly. You
could say.
Yeah, within Australia and Asia, it kind of feels like if you can handle someone's best for a period, that their level will drop off.
Yep.
And then you'll come up trumps.
Yep.
Whereas their level just wasn't dropping.
Yep. No, really good stuff. And just in terms of, I guess, your game, like, I often find that, I mean, I've more of a tennis background myself, but when you're, I guess, when you're playing against players that you're on par with or slightly stronger as you'd experience in the more of the Asia Pacific League and tournaments, you don't find as many holes in your game, or it's harder to like it's harder to identify where you need to improve. But when you come up against players that are literally the world's best, it creates good opportunities for learning and growing. Like, I guess, what were some of the observations with your own game in terms of, like, where did you feel like afterwards you're like, oh, I really need to develop particular areas? And maybe talk us through that.
Yeah, one thing I picked up on, without giving too much away about my own game, is when I was dinking in the match versus Gabe and Tyson, when I was dinking cross court, Tyson wasn't doing much with his dinks creatively, but he was taking almost all of them out of the air, pushing them back to my backhand corner. So it put pressure on in the sense of taking away my time rather than him hitting a very aggressive shot.
Yep.
So it just felt like I had less time than usual.
Yep.
For every backhand dink that I hit.
Yep.
And so I made a few unforced errors on that wing, more than I would ever expect to make in a match.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, that's one place that I was like, wow, need to find a way to somehow train that up.
Yep.
Without, playing against him again. Otherwise, I felt all right. My speed ups weren't where they needed to be. I felt like kind of because they were making us hit one extra shot every rally, had to go for a little bit more on the speed up.
Yep.
Pushed a few long, more than I'd expect as well.
Yep.
So that's probably another area.
Yeah, okay.
But just the pressure they were putting on.
Yeah.
It's a different shots.
Yeah, okay. On the kitchen line. Yeah, that's interesting. Because someone like Tyson probably doesn't have the two-hander, right?
No.
To do damage off the bounce on the backhand side. So he's applying pressure by taking it out of the air more.
Yeah, and sort of kind of the game plan going into that was we knew Tyson's so good from his forehand. Like he can create, it's just such a weapon for him that you'd rather get it to his backhand.
Yeah, rather get it to his backhand side.
More of a neutral safe zone.
Yep.
But even with that, despite not having all the shots, just the pressure he was still able to maintain was impressive.
Yeah, awesome. And just going into the players that you came up against, so you had Gabe Tardio, Tyson McGuffin, Zane Navratil was your partner, Colin Johns, Jay de Villiers, and so I did a little bit of I went through Duper and to see where those guys all sit into the mix. So Tardio is eighth highest in the world. McGuffin is 11. Your partner Zane was 35. Colin Johns is 34. Jay de Villiers was 17. And do you know where you would fit into that? Do you actually know where you fit Duper-wise in the world rankings?
No.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What do you, if you had to take a guess where you'd sit? As a 6.06.
6.06, maybe 150?
Yeah, so it's 172.
Oh, huge.
Yep.
Yeah,
172, okay. which is cool. So yeah, you're top 200, world top 200. Well done.
Yeah, that's nice. I wish I was higher.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good stepping stone. Yeah, no, it's just interesting. I thought just for context, because we'll talk about some of the matchups. Like it is I go back to tennis and think someone who's 170 in the world playing against guys who are top 30, like. You absolutely can compete, and sometimes it's those little things like consistency that make those next level players where they are, ranking wise or rating wise.
Yeah.
So where I guess if we talk about the matchup where you played against Tyson, McGuffin, and Gabe, so pretty much top 10 players, and Tyson's been one of the world's best for a long time.
It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, and I guess you'd probably say they're two right side players. More right side dominant in terms of but you had Tyson on the left and Gabe on the right.
Right.
What were yourself and Zane? Do you want to maybe talk through how did you guys think about where do you think you could expose their games in terms of a game plan? What did you think? Where were you trying to prevent them from attacking you guys? Do you have talk us through like how you approached like that match.
Yeah, so kind of in the matches leading up to that one, we'd played straight ahead.
Yep.
Like we were swapping sides.
Yep. Straight up. So you're playing left side and right
yeah,
side.
Playing left and right.
Yep.
So we kind of hadn't figured out our game plan too much because Zane predominantly is a right-sider.
Yep.
In the US. And me over here, I switched a bit between left and right.
Yep.
So we were seeing how we'd stack up. Halfway through the match, when I was kind of under pressure on the backhand side, playing left, we started to make Zane to stack.
Yep.
To have Zane more on the left, me on the right.
Yep.
I feel decently comfortable there with my forehand dink.
Yep. So you were up against, when you're saying you felt under pressure there, you were probably going head to head against Tyson on the left side.
Cross court with Tyson.
Yep.
So kind of similar to what I was saying.
Yep.
Trying to avoid Tyson's forehand in the middle where it could be creative. Hoping to go cross court with him, but he'd just reach in and not do much, but push it back and just make me feel like I was on the back foot there.
Yep.
A lot. So that came down to me just missing some balls there. So needed to switch it up, and then Gabe as well, like he's so strong off his forehand.
Yep. The bounce forehand?
Off the bounce, yeah. Yep. Didn't want to put anything wide to his forehand.
Yep.
I personally, which is probably gave him more respect than I should have.
Yep.
Like while I was dinking cross with Tyson, I really kind of chose not to flick at Gabe.
Yep.
Because everyone talks about like his hands being insane.
Yep.
So balls I'd normally pull the trigger on, I was kind of pushing back.
Yep.
As well. That probably something I could have fixed there.
Yep.
But yeah, mainly going into it, avoid the forehands of both players.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Within reason.
Yep.
And then Zane's such a great partner. He's just like, if you see a ball, just take it.
Yep. Yep.
Whenever I made errors, it didn't matter to him. We're both just going for it. So try to stay loose, not feel like we're under too much pressure because pretty heavy underdog.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys did really well. Like it was 3 sets, right?
Yeah, 3 sets.
You won. Which set did you win?
The second.
Yeah.
I think they took the first 11-8 after we were up like 8 something.
Yep.
8-2 maybe. I don't know if it was that far. We took the second 11-5.
Yep.
So in game 2, I felt great.
Yep.
I felt like I was.
Were you playing right side by that stage?
Playing right side in game 2. I felt like I was right there with him.
Yep.
Felt like potentially best on court. Like I was really in it.
Yep.
And then game 3. I think they took it 11-3.
Yep.
Or something. They just caught fire. They scored a lot of points on one of their serve rotations.
Yep.
Abe kind of woke up for the day. It probably gave him too many balls that he could be creative with. Started getting him kind of in the zone a little bit. So yeah, they stepped up in game 3.
Yeah, nice. And in terms of like Gabe Tardio is known for being like an aggressive right side player. So he kind of moves across and plays the back end out of the middle super well.
Mm-hmm.
When you were in the left side to left side battle with Tyson, and you know when you're on the defense, how you sort of defend middle line is more about what's probably
Safe
considered
zone.
a safe zone, higher percentage play.
Mm.
He's probably, I don't know, maybe the best player in the world or amongst the best 1 or 2 players in the world at taking the back end out of the air on that right side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that intimidating in terms of like when you were going, like I'd be thinking about it a lot. If someone had me on the defense and I had to hit short middle line to the right side player and he's got the best shot in the world. Did you think about that or did you get punished by that or did you do that well when you did defend in
I
that
was
spot?
kind of avoiding that area. Yeah, the normal safe zone.
I see you didn't actually play there.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that would have contributed to a few of the errors as well, like trying to pull the ball back a bit further than they're normal.
Yep.
Actually, I haven't been able to watch the match back because it's on Pickleball TV, not on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, which I'll probably buy a subscription and check it out. But from memory, I think he might have flicked one at me.
Yeah, okay.
Just one.
Okay.
And it's just going off memory. I think I counted it.
Yeah, okay.
Counted it pretty well. But for the most part, it was in my head, like, don't go there.
Yeah, don't go there.
It was just so dangerous.
Yep.
And then as well, the full line, dink down the line, it was kind of like, again, I probably gave him too much respect that if I put a dead dink line, he's just going to use his forehand and do something crazy with it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
it's actually quite interesting the way you talk about that because you can't go to Gabe's forehand because he bombs it. You can't go to his backhand because he takes it out of the air. You can't go to Tyson's forehand. So you literally just got Tyson's backhand.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Must have been the focus point of just where you guys are playing.
Exactly. And I saw a lot of balls on that backhand side when I was there.
Yep.
So I think when I moved to the right side, it kind of probably mentally was better for me because it was like I can go line, middle, Gabe inside foot, Gabe cross as long as I don't leave it dead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was probably freed me up once I moved over to the right.
It's awesome.
Because just thinking about how dangerous they are from different spots.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I mean. That's why they're best players in the world, right?
Exactly.
There's nowhere to go. That's really it's a really cool experience. So we'll talk about I guess your next matchup, which was Colin Johns and Jay DeVilliers.
Right.
Now, Colin Johns is he's obviously got a huge reputation because he's been part of the best men's doubles team of all time. You know, with his brother Ben.
Yeah.
He's played the right side role Ben's obviously been the dominant player that has been playing on the left. But how is that playing against someone like that? Like, because he's probably a household name in the US.
Yeah.
For example, anyone who pickleball is into pickleball would probably have a great deal of respect for him. What were your thoughts about playing someone like that?
Yeah, it was a bit of a privilege being able to play against him. He's probably one of the best coaches in pickleball as well. So he kind of knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing on court, plays his role really well, like you said, playing with Ben. He's kind of, I guess, dropped off a little bit in terms of being one of the best right-siders, just because right-side is becoming so aggressive.
Yeah, it's aggressive,
And he's started to add a bit of that, but he's not kind of the Gabe or the Hayden Patrickman or Christian Olshon kind of level for right side. But I mean, on court with him, he just didn't miss a ball. That's been his bread and butter for so long. So kind of felt playing against him that he was a bit of a safe zone on the court. But you knew that he wasn't going to make an error. Let alone, I mean, none of the US guys made too many unforced errors, but he was just automatic with every shot. And so when I was in front of him on the left, it was, again, probably a little more intimidating because his counters are, he probably anticipates the ball better than any.
So when you were, so when you were, if you were attacking him, his counters are solid,
But if I was right side dinking with him, there wasn't too much putting me on the back foot in that sense. So felt comfortable dinking cross with him.
Gotcha. So let's sort of talk about like that as a matchup. So you obviously, it's pretty different. You had two, you're talking about the match before where you had only one safe zone, maybe Tyson's backhand. And now you've got Colin that doesn't speed up much off the bounce, but just doesn't miss. And then you've got Jay who's actually, as you say, deceivingly good. Like he plays a little bit more in India, and I think he's probably less featured on big matches, PPA in the US, I guess.
I think he spent some time injured last year.
Is that right? Okay, okay, that makes sense then. But talk us through how you guys approach that as a matchup.
Yeah, so surprised by Jay's level in that match. Going to that one, we didn't have too many like limitations on the game plan compared to Tyson and Gabe, like different safe zones. Zane wanted us to test both of their hands a bit, play a bit loose, and then just going back to Zane being a great partner, like he's like playing for bronze, just send it, like play loose, play like you're in the park, having a hit. I think that went well. So that match was probably more free in terms of our play and where we were hitting spots. No real dead, like no-go zones in our heads there. And we were close. I mean, 11-8 in the third.
Yeah. Which set did you win again?
We took...
I did actually say I did watch it a week ago, so I can't recall. And did you...
I think we took game 2 again.
Was that you playing right? Did you play right for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Focused on that.
For the most part, I was right. Again, sometimes left, sometimes right, but for the most part, we got screwed on a couple bounces at like 8-8. Two rough points, which was a shame.
Pickle roll.
But yeah, in that match, game plan was just play free. Jay DeVilliers just stepped up a bit though. Compared to my expectations, he kind of owned the court. He was playing big. Deceiving length, deceiving power. He was just kind of on a roll.
Yeah, great hands. Yeah, Jay's one of the original players that I watched a lot of. Particularly with singles, he was one of the only players to like chip returns early on.
Right.
He actually, and because I was when I first started playing, I was slicing the return and coming in. I was like, I wonder if there's any other pros that do that. Right. So it was like I was trying to validate whether I was doing the right thing.
And
I was like, Jay's doing it, so I'm going to do it. And then and then I found out that obviously it produces a nice topspin effect on the third, and eliminated that. But and I think Jay has too. Like I don't think he does it anymore.
I don't see much anymore. I actually have a signed Jay paddle.
Oh, I did.
I used to play with a Vulcan.
Oh yeah, okay.
That he was using for a while. I got one signed at I think the very first MLP event in Austin. Yeah, like years ago.
Yeah, nice.
So
no, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, mate. Cool. So, yeah, obviously some incredible experiences there. The other part would be great to chat about is I know for a lot of the people that will listen to this, everyone's on their own journey of pickleball, whether they're we'll use Duper as a guide whether they're a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6. Everyone's at their own level and got their own level of thinking. What would be great for I think everyone to hear is just the differences between like how you approach some of the specific areas of the game and how you think about it as a 6+ sort of level player. Because like it's one thing that I've noticed a lot in my journey as a player too. Like when you're first starting out, you're playing pickleball. Like I might be playing against you, but we're not really even playing the same game. You're thinking about the game completely differently to the way someone that's just more newer to the game. And that pickleball IQ can make a huge difference between winning and losing. And as an example, I was playing just a rec game the other day, and we were down 8-4. Myself and my partner were down 8-4, and we were returning to a particular player, and then we're like, we're going to switch it. We're going to start returning to the other player, and then we won 11-8, for example. Right. It was just because there were reasons why.
Just a simple change.
It was a simple change, but but I wouldn't have known that 6 months ago. I would have just kept playing, and so I think sometimes that's like a really big difference between like just knowing like what you're trying to achieve out there. So I wouldn't mind getting your views around a couple of the areas of the game. Maybe starting with serving. At your level, what's your approach to serving? Like, is there any particular thing? Because it has probably traditionally been a point starter. Let's just roll it in and get the point started. How are you approaching serving when let's focus on doubles because that's the main game people are playing. But
serving. I mean, I also was kind of a traditional point starter with the serve, not ever practicing it, not ever really trying to bomb it, except for occasionally maybe in singles. But so I'm probably late to the train of serves in themselves, people practicing them, bombing them, using them as an aggressive shot rather than, like you said, getting the point started. And I actually had some advice from you about, what I should do with my serve. And so at the moment, that's actually an area that I'm working on. Is picking up the serve. Because you see that trend in pickleball where it's no longer just starting the point.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's when I had a look at your singles game. Even for me, like I was learning about it as I was looking into it, but it made me realize like how big in singles the serve is absolutely critical. Like the best players are bombing serves. Doubles though, it's not necessarily the case as yet. I mean, not everyone. Like Colin Johns doesn't appear like he bombs the serve. No. Like he looks like he's got a good, nice 3/4. But then there's other players like Q and that who are bombing. Looks like they're bombing serves, as big as they can.
I think that leads into kind of game style. So for me, in my matches, my mindset is if I'm up the kitchen, I feel like I've got a high percentage chance to win the point. So for me in doubles, it's just been get the point started, get a third. Work up to the kitchen, then at the kitchen we'll grind away and win the point. Versus bombing serve, hitting an aggressive third, catching them to the kitchen late, getting quick points that way. So for something like, even in doubles, mixed doubles, big serve can be crucial to getting some quicker, easier points. Which I kind of do want to add to my game, like big serve, big forehand. Just to change things up, to not make every point be a kitchen line grind. So there's some changes there.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Like it's one thing I've noticed with serving bigger in doubles is just the return just comes in that little bit shorter, which can make it easy to transition. Versus when someone clocks the return and it hits the back of the court, like it's hard to get up to the line.
Exactly.
Great. And returning. What do you think about when you're returning in terms of, is it like the way you're hitting the ball or who you're playing to? Like, what are some of the things you consider?
I think when in a competitive match, you identify who's got the better thirds or who's better at crashing the net, if that's a threat. So there's kind of a balance of, let's say the same player has the better thirds on the court, but they're also the better player at being aggressive for the fifth. then you have to kind of trade off. Do we just give up the thirds to avoid that aggressive pressure?
Yep.
In mixed, especially like if you return to the guy, that normally relieves some of the shake and bake pressure at the net of a big crash, unless the girl's playing aggressive. So there's those decisions. Again, kind of avoiding slice on the return these days, because people are so good at generating topspin off of that.
Topspin off it.
Apart from certain situations, maybe throw a change up in there. I think in general returns, people are clocking them a lot harder than before. Similar to the serve, I think that's one reason why the serve has to get bigger, is because the returns have gotten bigger as well. So if you're not pressuring with your serve, then the returns just coming back into a corner. Putting you on the back foot, and then you really have to fight your way up to the kitchen.
It makes sense there, mate. No, that's really good. And it's like, interestingly, at like a majority of players are probably between, say, 3.5 and 5. Not a lot of thoughts ever goes into much who to return to, but at that higher level, it's quite interesting that in mixed doubles, like you're talking about, not necessarily returning to the best returner, third shot player. It's like if the male player is good at crashing the net, then you're almost returning more of the time to the best returner, the best third shot player. Because it's preventing someone getting close to that net. Correct. It's it's a really
unless there's a huge imbalance and one person's just no good at thirds, and the crash doesn't matter.
That's right.
But it's in rec play, it's kind of easy to get lost in the thought of, I just want to play good kitchen points. Because it can feel, sometimes it's like, well, if the point ends early because you've hit a great return or a great serve, kind of, I don't know, for me at least in rec play, it's like, I wish we could have just, played out a good kitchen point. But then when it gets to a competition, it's like, well, I wish I had those reps to really pressure certain shots.
That's right. It's good. In terms of approaching the third shot, so you've served. What do you do with first ball after you hit the serve? So what are some of the, I guess, your considerations? Because the third, there is quite a lot of options, obviously, to play. Whether it's the chip, whether it's like a tops. Well, I think as Zane calls it, I think it's the what's the hybrid between the drip,
like the drip, drive drop.
In between the drive and the drop, or the drive. What are some of the things that you consider when you're playing the third shot?
Something Zane actually pointed out to me about my players, that I kind of make up my mind before the return even comes. About what shot I'm going to hit, which I hope that's not necessarily the case, and that could be an area that I need to work on. My default is kind of third shot drop. I feel like I've put so many hours into that shot that I feel like I can hit a drop almost off any return, even if I'm pushed back. So for me, I've got kind of a fallback into that. The third shot drive, fifth shot drop is kind of huge at the moment. It's if the return comes hot, hitting a drive at 70% speed to get an easier fifth shot to hit, to then hit the drop. Is I think in general it's a good tactic to use. If your drive is a weapon, then drive that. Historically, coaches have probably said never drive more than once. Like if you drive your third, drop the fifth. I think that's kind of gone to the wayside a bit now that paddles can generate so much spin that you can almost rip a full drive from half court. If you're shaping it enough. So third shots have changed over time, and then you've got the hybrid. So that's a shot where you kind of have to recognize someone approaching the kitchen slowly off of their return, and then you can find their feet with a hybrid drive drop. Aggressive shot that you have to take early, lower percentage, but comes with some good return on it. Like good reward. I'd say there's so many options these days with the third shot, rather than just, slice, ploppy, forehand or backhand, and then slowly get out to the net. Whether it's the drive, the full topspin drop. But also I think it's important, and I still practice this, just to have that slice drop. because it can be, you know, if some shot's not working under a pressure situation, to be able to default back to just a chip drop is handy.
Yeah, it's handy. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So in general, like same as the serve, same as the return, like the third shot is getting more aggressive.
Yeah, getting more aggressive. Yeah, that's right. And I think for players like, obviously you're trying to get to the kitchen line because that's your strength. So you're going to be, you're trying to drop more. For a lot of players, like I'd say the lower fives, 3, 4 or 5, like there's more reward for driving, actually getting mistakes off a drive. So like if you see the typical, say, 4.0 level match, player hits a massive drive off a third, the ball doesn't come back. You know, a lot of the time, like if you hit it well, I guess at a higher level, you're not expecting the ball not to come back. You're just expecting it. Hey, they might block a volley. It'll be shorter, and then you can get in. So
exactly.
So for a lot of levels, like the third shot drive, the fifth shot drop is a really kind of safe, good option. For sure. That's interesting. And the other thing I was going to ask you about drops is because I've just noticed, having used the Dura ball last year, which is really fast. Then going to the Franklin. It's interesting how I found it hard with the Dura to roll the topspin drop. It's just It's just a little, for whatever reason, a little bit harder. The Franklin seems to be able to be it's a lot easier to be aggressive off a drop. I feel it's slower through the air. Do you find your approach to dropping changes with a ball difference, or does it not?
Yeah, well, I mean, Franklin's just the best brand in pickleball at the moment. So, I mean, their ball's the best going around. Shameless plug. No, it does change with the ball. Interesting you said the topspin drop, you didn't feel it with the Dura, because in my opinion, I feel like the Dura takes more spin and can be more aggressive. I'm definitely definitely with the Dura, you're more likely to drive. Everyone's going to drive it more often with the Dura just because it's zipping through the air. So the change to the Franklin, like I really prefer the Franklin ball because getting to the kitchen at a high percentage
getting up a lot higher
is much easier, and then that feeds into my game of kind of owning the kitchen line.
Just grinding players down ruthlessly on the kitchen.
Unless it's Tyson McGuffin. But with a different ball, game style can change completely. Like Dura as well, more aggressive from the kitchen. Teeing off earlier, hoping for the ball to be faster and dip a bit more. And
so you're being more patient with the slower Franklin ball. And more aggressive.
A little bit. But
levels.
You kind of, it's kind of pros and cons. With the Dura, you can be more aggressive because it'll catch the other player faster. And I feel like spin a bit more and dip in. But with the Franklin, if you're aggressive, because it's a slightly slower ball, the counter won't come back as hot. If you kind of speed up to the wrong spot. So you can survive in the point a bit longer. So that kind of makes you want to go for a bit more because you won't get instantly punished. So it's a bit of a mindset change depending on the ball. Beyond just like the thirds.
That makes sense. Okay. That's good. So essentially, if you're speeding up with a slow ball, it's very much a 1-2, almost 3 combo. Versus like a Dura. I mean, and that's actually, I mean, we'll cover speed ups in a moment around that, but that's like a common thing I would say for a lot of levels. When a player speeds up, they're just speeding up and they think the point's over. But obviously at the higher level you play, it's like I'm going to speed up there and I'm going to get another shot on the forehand side next or whatever. So it's definitely a big change there. All right. I know you talked about dinking a fair bit as being one of your strengths, that you like getting to the kitchen line. What are some of the things that you how do you approach like getting to the line? So if I look at, like, again, because a lot of the people that will listen to this will be all different levels, but if I look at the players that are just sort of starting out, maybe intermediate, low level, advanced, they sort of get to the kitchen line, the only thing they would think about is just trying to keep the ball in the kitchen area, keeping it low, which is a really good focus point to start. You don't want to give yourself too many many things to think about. But at your level, you're now going into a lot of detail in terms of trying to hit specific spots and that. How do you think about the kitchen and dinking in general?
So kind of at a lower level, if you can just hit dinks in, you're going to beat the other player who makes the first unforced error or pops the ball up.
Yep.
And then slowly as you get better and better and play against better competition, it starts to transition from making a dink versus pushing dinks to wherever they're weaker or whoever you're dinking against to pushing the dinks into better spots to then being aggressive with the dinks. So whether you're rolling or just hitting even heavy slice dinks, if you're accurate with it, can be aggressive. And then looking to move around and kind of set into a pattern which you like as a team. So there gets to be more levels to the dink. Again, going back to the Gabe and Tyson game, it felt like if I was going to win a point, it wasn't going to be me out-dinking Tyson and him being the first to make an error. Because I would have made the first error. So at that point, I have to be aggressive to the right spots if I want to, make these dinks worthwhile.
Yes, you get, it's an interesting approach. And so I guess, and it totally depends on, like, partner matchups in pickleball are almost more important than maybe most other sports that I've seen where, like, you've got your own game to think about, what you're good at, but then your partners. And then so it's almost like a bit of a game of chess as to what pattern is going to stack up the best. And if you find yourself in an unfavorable pattern, then you're going to try and break that by maybe changing up line or whatever it is, right? So,
So probably the one thing that I think about at this level that I don't want to do is just hit a dead dink to someone's forehand. Because then they can start dictating the play and choosing kind of the pattern to go into, or they can just speed it up. And so, like you said, it's very partner dependent. Like if your partner can hold their own, out-dink cross court, they're happy to push it line, it frees you up to then put the ball wherever you want. Whereas if, say, happens more in mixed, if you don't want your partner to get targeted in a certain spot, you'll avoid certain spots on the other player where they can then push it there. So there's some extra thought then that goes into the dinks beyond get it in the court, beyond hit it to an aggressive spot. So it is that partner connection.
You're getting the partner connection. Nice. And going into like speed ups, I think I was watching a match and I heard you commentate on it, and one of the comments that you made was like, pretty sure it was either you or George, that you said, it's good to be like predictable for your partner in terms of like speed ups, right? Because you're expecting another ball after that. How do you approach speeding up, like just in general?
Mindset's kind of changed over time with the speed ups because you can be a lot more aggressive these days. Again with the hot paddles. Like for example, the full bag body shot was kind of never a thing, and currently in the US it happens at a decent clip enough to now have new rules for no above the shoulders and stuff because that's come into the game. In terms of speeding up, like if you play enough with a partner, they'll start to understand what speed ups you're going to go for. It's kind of like if you play against someone enough, you kind of understand when they're going to pull the trigger on those.
Pull the trigger,
which these days is more often than not. I don't know too much there in terms of like it's not something I'd say a partner and I will practice like, hey, let's do this drill where I speed up here and we practice covering a certain spot. It's more of, okay, if I'm going to pull the trigger, I'm likely going to count it, like hit my next follow up here. You need to cover here.
So you're very much you're at the stage where you're hitting a speed up and you're thinking, what ball am I going to get next after that? You know, so if you're on the right side and you say speed up down the line to the left side player's backhand, you're going to be probably looking for a forehand on the next one as an example. Right. It's all about the next ball at high levels. And then from there it becomes the next ball after that next ball. Because you know that the next one's coming back. At a higher rate. So it starts to get into working those combos rather than at a lower level, like ripping a speed up and then either finishing the point or getting like a super high ball is common. At the top level, it's I'm going to speed up here, expect the counter here.
my partner will expect to move over as well and we'll play out there.
Yes, there's a lot to play out. Because one of the things I've noticed is, say just, with the difference, and a lot of people also have a tennis background, is when you're playing tennis, particularly doubles, there's enough time to always be centered in a ready position, so the court's big, your opponents are a long way away. I don't know, you've definitely got another point, at least a few tenths of a second more for sure in tennis than you do pickle. So like you're always trained like ready position. I find in pickleball, because it's only, I think the stat on it is it's something like 0.25 of a second to react. Is not enough time to react with it from a ready position stance. Like you have to be leaning one way or another. Like, do you find that as well when it comes to like counters or speed ups or whatever, that you have to be almost predicting or, which way the ball's going to come on? Because if you're reactive, then you're just going to not have enough time to get your paddle back in time. Like,
that it kind of depends on the situation. Like if you're in a dink rally, you can sit in that ready position. For the most part, like if someone's going to speed the ball up from below net height. If it's from below net height, come at you quick enough that you can't react, it's probably going long. If it's coming from below net height and it's going in the court, you should have time from a ready position, forehand, backhand. If it's coming from a high dink, that the opponent's, taking that out of the air at net height, then you kind of have to guess.
You have to lean away,
Which kind of the backhand counter slide comes into play a lot in the top level, because you can cover a lot more with this.
You cover a lot more,
Or the scorpion kind of counter with the forehand, where you can kind of window wipe a bigger area. If you're the one speeding up, it kind of, with the ball coming back quickly, like you said, you don't have that time to get back to the ready position. So when you're thinking about the combo, you almost have to predict, hey, I'm speeding up here. I'm expecting the next one here.
On that.
And so your kind of follow through will lead into
the next shot.
the next shot.
Is that something you think about in terms of speed up locations, in terms of like, are you trying to, because like that point there, if you have a long follow through, say on a forehand, but then you're expecting a forehand on the next one, it's obviously puts you in a tough spot where you're finishing. Are you trying to, when you speed up, match the next shot up with your follow through, or is that
not necessarily?
Really? Not necessarily.
Like with the speed up, you should be not having a big follow through, so you should be able to kind of finish here.
You're finishing here anyway,
and pull back.
A good point in itself.
Big thing in pickleball is short backswing, and kind of when it necessitates a short follow through. To then either have the hands ready or to pick a side.
It makes sense, mate. No, that's some really good insights, mate. I know you got to get warming up for your match pretty shortly.
Men's doubles day.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So, mate, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I think there's been so many really good tips, and just to understand how you think as a player will be tremendously valuable for a lot of people listening. So, mate, just want to say,
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, just want to say thanks so much for your time, mate. I really, really appreciate it during a tournament catching up. So
sweet,
good.
Love your work, mate.
Thanks for tuning in to the Kitchen Sink. If you've enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow along, leave a review, and share it with your pickleball friends. Got a question or topic you want us to cover? Drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Ryan Henry. See you next time, and remember, stay out of the kitchen unless it's this one. Thank you.